I'm not exaggerating, am I? You are an obsessive gardener, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I think it kind of dates back to when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was born in Bermondsey,
Yes.
which is not well known for green spaces.
No, there aren't acres of gardens around there, are there?
But the Second World War came along and I was evacuated, and I grew up in the country. And then I came back to town, and I lived in London for many, many years, and I missed the country after a while. I mean,
Yes.
when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get away from it. I wanted to come back to London.
Yes.
But eventually I missed the country, and I bought a house in the country and looked at this 7 acres of stinging nettles and decided to do something about it.
Do you think, Michael, there's some kind of psychological thing about gardening? I mean, what is it that attracts people? Because, as you know, I'm married to that other capability, Brian Forbes.
Yeah, my
He's
friend Brian Forbes, yeah.
obsessed with it. What is it, do you think?
Well, I think it's a thing of, for instance, I plant trees.
Yes.
Now, if you're very lazy, it sounds a silly thing to do to plant trees because it's a lot of hard work. But if you put a tree in, you can then leave it alone for 50 years and it will take care of itself. And every year you can go out and look at it and it's a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And you say, I did that, but you only did it once. But you get a reward every year for nothing.
Well, you see, it's funny because, you see, I do that and I just think, oh, I'm a bit older, and when is it ever going to become a great big tree?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
women are a bit like that, aren't
yeah,
they?
well, I've conquered that problem. When I first started gardening, I would put in an oak tree about this big, and the gardener would say, what do you think is going to happen to that? So I said, well, it's going to grow. He said, yes. He said, it's going to be about 10 feet in about 35 years' time. So I thought, to hell with putting stuff in for posterity. So when I used to go out and buy trees 35 feet high. It's true. And I buy trees 35 feet high and just put them in, and people come down, they think they're in the wrong garden. And they have to go back to the house to see it's me there.
Michael, why do you think it is, with perhaps two notable exceptions, there aren't really very many famous women gardeners, are there?
No, I think it's because they can't dig the holes deep enough. You ever seen a woman digging?
No.
It's the same as a left-hander.
Really?
Yeah, they don't get the holes deep enough. And so it all dies,
Michael, supposing you had a sort of dream garden, I mean, do you think you have that already, or do you think there's something that, in your wildest hopes, you think that's the way I would like to see my garden become, or that's what I would like to have? What would that be?
Well, I think the Royal Horticultural Society's garden at Wisley. But that's too much. I don't know how many acres. I have 7 acres, which was 7 acres of wilderness.
Yes.
But it's also, it's a mill house on the edge of the Thames. And there are streams and everything running through it. So it's an absolutely marvellous site. And I'm afraid I get a lot of credit for gardening because the site was already there.
Well, it is the most beautiful garden.
The funny thing about being a gardener on the edge of the Thames, though, is if you're me, is the boats all go by my house, you know.
Yes.
And I'll be standing there gardening, and the boat will go by, and it will be saying it was Windsor Castle on the right, and blah, blah, blah. That's where I live near there. And suddenly I'll hear this voice say, and the gentleman on the left in the glasses, who is now mowing the lawn, is Mr. Michael Caine. And everybody on the boat goes, hello. So I put up a lot of fir trees, and every time I see one of the boats coming, I mow straight behind a fir tree.
Michael, I've just come back from America where, as you know, everybody is very into talking to their plants. They say, oh my goodness, I have to talk to the begonias, else they won't survive this one. Do you do any of that? Do you indulge in that?
No, but the basic thing is a good idea because you breathe out carbon dioxide, which is what plants live on.
Really?
Yeah, so if you go and breathe all over your plants, it's very good for them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the fact if you talk to them, it depends on how bright you are in conversation. I mean, I know some people who could bore their plants to death.
Michael, supposing the taxman let you have the luxury of giving up acting, I mean, providing you could prevent the taxman from living in the manner to which he's become accustomed thanks to you, do you think that you could be happy just being a gardener?
Oh, sure. I would be. I would need a few more acres, though.
Yes.
But I would never be a farmer. I'm interested in plants and just trees and vegetables and stuff like. I have this whole. I suppose it's an ecology thing.
Yes.
Actors are very insecure people.
Yes.
And especially actors from Bermondsey.
Yes.
And so I've got this garden, which is enough room, if I ploughed up all the lawn and everything, to feed me, and I've got water running through where I can water everything no matter what happens. And I've got a mill race, which means I could generate my own electricity. And I think I'm going back to the sort of Middle Ages, really. And I think a lot of people are like that.
Yes, I think it's a great feeling of survival at the moment.
Sure.
I really think it is. Michael, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. And one thing I would like to say, as you know, I'm not one of nature's gardeners. I really just walk through an English country garden. And I have known Michael a very long time. I've seen him grow a lot of things. I've seen him grow into a superb actor. I've seen him grow a beard. I've seen him grow funnier. I've seen him grow married, which, by the way, I think suits you very well indeed. I've seen him grow roses. I've seen and tasted the greatest corn on the cob that he grows. But the one thing he hasn't grown is a swollen head. And I think that's really nice. Michael Caine, thank you very much for being a guest on my show.
Thank you.